So today I want to talk about something that's nothing that you should take serious. Do not take this video seriously, please. All right, so you see the title of the video, the top 5 ways to take a day off. Now, what I am referring to is when you were in the position like I am, where you're self-employed, you pretty much work by yourself, although my son does help. You're self-employed, you work from home, and if you're in that situation, you know what your life is. Your life is 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Thoughts of how can I make more money? How can I make more money? How can I make more money? Mixed in with how can I be more productive and what's going on here and why isn't this working and how come that's not working and maybe I should try something else. Maybe I should do something different. It never stops. It never stops. So I decided to compile a list of 5 ways that you can get a guaranteed day off. They may or may not be serious. There might be one that is. We'll see if you can catch it. Let's go. Number 5 is to simply allow yourself to become completely and utterly, totally, without apology, burnt out. That's usually the way it ends up working for me. When you get to the point where you yell at the dog, that's when you know you're burnt, crispy, fried. Now, for me, let's see. I've been self-employed since 1999. I haven't had a 2-week vacation since 1996. That's not an exaggeration. The point is that usually for me, the only way that I get a day off is when I can no longer physically or emotionally or any other possible way cope, handle things, have rational thought. And like I said, it usually will end up somewhere around the idea I'm either aggravated with the dog or I can't even stand the sound of my own self breathing, let alone chewing. That's usually a guaranteed way to get a day off. I don't recommend that. That's why it's number 5. However, if you get to that point, it'll be inevitable. You're going to have to stop working. All right, number 4 is kind of an evil idea. It's not something that I recommend doing on purpose. Kinda. Make a commitment to a plan that you have that you're not going to keep. Okay? So as an example, you make a commitment to meet with somebody at noon on Wednesday, right? Okay, you've needed to talk to this person for a while. You've got all these things. You've got business to take care of, right? So you make the plan to meet Wednesday at noon, okay? You clear your schedule. You get everything done on Tuesday that you would have done on Wednesday. And then with about an hour to go, you just cancel the appointment and never show up. And voila, you have a day off, right? You've done all your work from the day before. So take the day off. Now, this does not take into consideration the fact that you're kind of being a jerk to whoever it was that you made the plans with. Like I said, it's not something I would highly recommend. However, if it accidentally happens, whoops, I forgot, right? That's another good way you could trick yourself into believing that you forgot that you had the plans. Basically, this is the jerk way to get a day off. But again, it will technically work. Now, number 3 is not one that I highly recommend because you're going to end up with consequences coming back the other way. And that is pretend to be sick. Problem is you're the boss. So you have to convince yourself that you're sick. So what will inevitably, invariably happen is that if you wake up and you got a little bit of a headache and you say, I'm not really feeling all that good, maybe I should take today off, the headache's going to get worse. You will actually physically make yourself sick, trying to convince yourself that you're too sick to work, and then make yourself sick. You give yourself a headache, give yourself a stomachache. It's not hard to do. All right? Mind over matter. If you want to feel bad, you're going to feel bad. So tell your boss, yourself, that you don't feel good enough to work, and voila, manifestation 101. You're going to not feel well enough to work. It works. Number 2, responsible scheduling and consistent execution of said schedule. I don't believe that either. All right, the number one best way to get a day off. Now, this is a little bit complicated, but follow me here. I have been binge watching true crime stuff. I actually enjoy watching when the cops have to call the people in and they have to do all the interrogation and all of that. I've been binge watching that. This seems to me to actually be a foolproof way to get a day off. Fake a crime and lead them on a wild goose chase, okay? In fact, faking a crime, okay? It has to have multiple layers to it. The bottom line is that we all know they're kind of listening to the phones or whatnot or reading our emails. So make it look and sound like you're getting ready to perpetrate a crime. Then leave a trail of evidence so that when they find it, by the time they find the evidence at the end of the day that you've had off, because they've called you in to question you, when they get to the end of the day and they uncover the last piece of evidence, it's just a note that says something like, ha, gotcha, or psych, or something like that. So basically, you're pretending to fake a crime. It's double. Now, that might actually get you a second or even third day off because they might press charges on you for filing a false police report, but you didn't file the police report. It's their fault for listening into your conversations, you see? So you can bring it all the way back and blame them. But from what I've seen on YouTube, that generally speaking should guarantee you a full and complete day off from work. Now, like I said, those 5 ideas, I wouldn't exactly take them to the bank. I would not follow any of my advice. And by the way, they do not include the bonus ideas of the plot the flatliners, hanging out with Matthew Broderick, or telling your wife that your mom is coming to visit for a day. Any of those 3 things, generally speaking, again, will get you a day off. But the reality behind the situation is that even when you get a full day off, when you are self-employed and you can work for yourself, especially when you work at home, yes, it is possible to take a complete day off. You will regret it the next day, though, because it doesn't stop. The work didn't stop. They didn't stop emailing you. You didn't stop selling stuff. You still need to make videos. All of the things that you needed to do are still there. You've just managed to convince yourself for 24 hours that you didn't need to do them. So you take a day off on Tuesday. It generally speaking just means Wednesday is going to be worse. Now, I know, number 2, responsible scheduling and consistent execution of the schedule. Now, when you're working for somebody else, that's more of a possibility. When you're working from home, I'm going to have serious videos on this topic, but generally speaking, when you're working from home, especially if you've got kids, dogs like the St. Bernard laying in front of me, it can be damn near impossible. And many times it will cause you more stress trying to get the day off than actually just continuing to work. And that's the final thing I'll say is that I'm not saying never take a day off, but generally speaking, it's kind of been my experience where it's better to take a half a day off at the end of the day when you've gotten a bunch of work done at the beginning than it is to try to take a full day off, because the stress level, unless you have responsible scheduling, which we all try to do, and consistent execution of schedule. There is no perfect way to do that. There's only ways that you can kind of trick yourself, trick the dogs, trick the kids, trick your wife, trick your spouse. You can kind of trick yourself into getting a few hours of consistent execution of scheduling. But if you are attempting to work from home and still be a good dad, a good spouse, a good anything else, something's going to have to give. And usually that is your brain cells. Usually that's what's going to, usually you're just going to lose brain cells trying to take a day off. It's bad advice to never take a day off, but I don't recommend trying to take any days off.